Anyway, so Kathy, let me click this. Kathy is a adjunct professor at Borough of Manhattan Community College. She lives and maintains a studio in Queens, New York. Diamond has curated a show, Earth Matters, which was to be held at the Green Door Gallery in Brooklyn this past spring and is postponed due to coronavirus. For decades, Diamond's imagery has fused elements of nature and figuration into biomorphic paintings and works on paper. She has received residency fellowships in Wyoming, Virginia, Maine, and upstate New York. These experiences from the building blocks of works developed in her Queens studio. Diamond spent 2 decades in Williamsburg exhibiting at Farrell Pollock Fine Art, Sideshow Gallery, Gallery Voorhees, and Janet Karnowski Gallery. She has exhibited extensively in New York, including solo exhibitions at Andre Czar Gallery and Valentine Gallery and Painting Center. Recent exhibitions include Magnum Opus at 490 Atlantic Gallery, 2020 at All Natural Art House, Jersey City. In 2019, Diamond exhibited works in Out There at Supermoon Art Space, Ridgewood, New York. Unextinguished, the Episodic Landscape at SRO Gallery, Brooklyn, New York. Ideation at Susquehanna Art Museum, Harrisburg, PA. Praxis held at Smith Learning Center and Columbia University, New York, New York. Informs at Shirley Furman Art Gallery, New York, New York. And it goes on. I'm not going to go into 218. So, yeah, if you want to take over here.
Okay. Thank you, Gary. Thank you very much. It's really nice to be a part of this. These are mostly recent works. This started a long time ago and was picked up last year. It's 38 by 38 oil on canvas. I called it Brainy. Some of these titles are just stop gaps. You know, they're just titles that I give a painting temporarily until I really figure out what it's about, which takes a long time. My work is very connected to natural forms. I try to get to residencies and out to nature as much as I can. It's looking a little fuzzy, interesting. And where I work in Queens, I work, my studio is in my home, and there are a lot of trees around me, and I try to have a dialogue always with living things. That's the most important thing for me. The thing that gets me the most excited in generating my imagination is making something that is alive. So this painting, I also have a very metamorphic imagination. So forms are simultaneously figurative as well as trees, insects, birds, animals, kind of simultaneously. And the gestures of trees are figurative to me. I was veering toward bushes recently, and so the bush forms took on, instead of the figure, they started to become portraits in a way, heads. So this I see as a head that is floating. And the fascination with what's going on in the gray matter inside, what's underneath the surface, is in a psychological way is very important to me. And it's morphed with the earth, kind of a swampy wetland. So they come together in this head, and then you've got this sort of banana peel spider form kind of latching on. So there's just a lot of ways for me to look at this painting. Lots of people who look at my paintings don't necessarily see the imagery that I see. They either just see it abstractly as shape and form and color and texture and light, or they see different images, and that's all good. So it started at a residency out west and in Wyoming. So I tried to hold on to the gold and rust colors of the earth there. And then it became this. And with a sort of a cliff on the left and this little twig rising up. it's really just about like thanks, Carol. The underneath the surface, the root systems that connect all trees. I'm reading an amazing book called Overstory by Richard Powers, and it's about the connected spirit and psyche of trees. It's wonderful, and I feel I've found a soulmate. I think a lot of people do with this book. So that's just a little bit about what's going on in this. And I'm sorry that it sort of got a little fuzzy. I thought this was a good image. But Gary, you can go to the next.
Okay.
Okay. So this one, my sort of temporary title, I think, is Purple Trunk 30 by 30. This is oil on canvas. And this, my neighbor's wonderful big sycamore tree apparently was not doing well, and the parks company department came and cut it down. It was a very sad day for me. It looked perfectly fine. And then I'm talking about the form on the top right there, that sort of ghost-like hollow form. And lo and behold, when they got to the bottom, the trunk stump was hollow on the inside. And it was devastating to me, but informative, because the guy said that the tree was, when it's weak like that, of course it's dangerous and it could fall. So I just felt in painting, yes, I love Charles Birchfield. In painting this, the spirit of this tree was there. It's also got like this hurly-burly feeling of a windswept rotation of forms, moving up and moving back simultaneously. The wind coming through my little dead-end street in Queens with the tunnel of sycamores, you know, gets in there. But I do think that there's a lot of figurative elements in this as well. When you see the real painting, there's sort of little figures. And then what's very important to me comes out of my training is that this space in between forms is this metaphysical space that's as important as the forms themselves. So sometimes those background shapes come forward and have a lot of figuration on their own. Great. So this is called Warrior. I did this last year at a residency in Virginia. And this was kind of playing on, in a way, a few things. One was the little warrior ants, you know, that have the like transmitter, what's it called? The stuff on top, the metal baggage on top, very mechanical, that I felt would beat with ants and beetles and such, which of course I love insects. And the residents had this wonderful walk of a few minutes from where we stayed overnight, the residents, to the Barnes Studios. And there were bunnies and bushes and all sorts of things in between on this wonderful walk. And we as warriors went back and forth and passed each other along the way, battling it out in our studios. I just kind of riffed on that a little bit. And then also my own personal armor of just kind of dealing with my emotions of subjugation and domination. There's lots of push-pull in the emotional realm for me that help me with the metaphors in the work of survival and hope and things like that. So I guess we can move on. This is, I've sort of called it leaf figure. This is 24 by 30 oil on canvas. And just sort of resolved itself. And actually the color's not quite right. The green is really a really strong emerald green. I just couldn't get it. But for me, this was kind of about me and my partner. Couples are an ongoing subject for me and have been for years. And again, that space in between that holds you at bay from each other and also connects you. This is important to me. I come out of kind of Gorky and Andre Masson. And, you know, when Gorky said, I don't paint the trees, I paint, you know, in between the trees, you know, that's very relevant to me. But for me, there's something about like being electrocuted, that these forms are very active with this kind of circuitry, but stuck to each other as well. So that's one reading that I have of it. And then we're planting in these terracotta pots out back, lettuce, baby lettuce. So the coloration for me is all about light. Color isn't like a decorative thing. It's really comes out of light and temperature and weather. And that's something that I draw from nature as well. So good, thank you. We'll move on. So I do a lot of works on paper. Trying to get rid of that text box. Yeah, okay. So I thought I'd put some of those together. Some of these are collage that are ripped up from unsuccessful works on paper, the top right and the bottom right. And I really like that process in trying to figure out some shapes. And then they're, you know, they're acrylic on paper with pigments and some colored pencil and such. And you can sort of see the creatural kind of, not cartoony, but a little comical and just life force coming out of nature of some of these images.
Oh, do you want me to go back? Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. And then this is the last one. Sometimes I unravel. I have a group of work that's not so much about shape and coalescing a figurative or a sort of creatural form, but just unraveling. And I see that as just the unseen energy of the air, of the bird flight, you know, all these things, cells and that are in the air that we don't see. And I do different things with layering and glazing and the linear kind of, you know, circuitry leads to something that just, I don't see a figure there, you know, I just see kind of a spirit. So that's about all. That's about it for me. I don't know if there's more time or.
No, that's good. Thank you.
Is that good, Gary?
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, lots of comments. Great color and movement. There's a question from Jeff Evans. Are any 20th century Latin American painters your influences?
Well, I do like Wilfredo Lam and Tanguy. I'm not sure if he's Latin American. I love Diego Rivera. You know, again, like Andre Masson is big for me. You know, Braque. Yeah. So Lam, I'd like to look more at him.